Welcome back, Horror Fam, to day 23 of our Halloween countdown. Tonight we're diving into one of the creepiest legends out there, Smile Dog. You've probably heard the stories, and if you haven't, well, you're in for a terrifying treat. We've got a collection of chilling tales about Smile Dog, the grinning figure that haunts your dreams and dares you to look at its unsettling smile. But remember, once you look, there's no going back. So dim the lights, settle in, and whatever you do, don't look at that smile.
Tonight we'll be diving into the unnerving world of the Smile Dog, the sinister entity that's haunted the minds of countless individuals. Prepare to be chilled to the bone as we share the top 5 horrifying Smile Dog hauntings that'll leave you sleepless. So turn down the lights, grab your blanket, and let's embark on this journey into the unknown together. Remember, there's no turning back once you've seen the Smile Dog. Jason was always on the hunt for the latest video games, especially the ones that were hard to find or not yet released. He had recently discovered a file-sharing website where users would upload all sorts of exclusive content, and he couldn't resist the temptation to see what he could find. One evening, as Jason scrolled through the website, he came across a file with an intriguing name, phantomgame_x.exe. The description promised an unparalleled gaming experience, so Jason eagerly downloaded the file, hoping to get a sneak peek at something incredible. Once the download completed, he opened the file, but instead of a game, he was greeted by a single image. It was a picture of a dog, or at least something resembling a dog, with a wide, unnerving grin. The dog's fur was an odd mix of gray and maybe pink, though that might have been some light source bouncing off of it, and its eyes seemed to pierce right through Jason. Slightly disturbed, but mostly disappointed, he closed the image and deleted the file from his computer. That night, Jason's dreams were anything but peaceful. He found himself standing in a dimly lit room, the eerie silence broken only by the sound of his own breathing. Then, the dog from the image appeared, its grin somehow even wider than before. It spoke to him, its voice a guttural growl that sent shivers down his spine.
"Spread the word,"
the dog commanded, its eyes never leaving Jason's. Jason woke up immediately and was unable to sleep again for the rest of the night. The next day, Jason tried to shake off the nightmare, but it persisted in his mind. He couldn't escape the feeling that something was very wrong. As the days passed, the nightmares continued, each one more vivid and terrifying than the last, the dog's haunted words echoing through his mind during his waking hours. Exhausted and desperate, Jason decided to seek help online. He discovered a forum dedicated to discussing paranormal phenomena and shared his story, hoping that someone might have answers. To his surprise, several users responded with similar experiences, all involving the same dog with the same sinister smile. Jason learned that the image he had downloaded was known as Smile Dog, a cursed image that had been circulating on the internet for years. The only way to stop the nightmares, according to the forum users, was to spread the word, just as the dog demanded. At first, Jason refused to believe it. Even if it was real, that would mean that anyone he shared the image with would potentially be doomed. Jason refused to believe it. He couldn't bring himself to share the image and potentially doom others to the same torment. But as the nightmares worsened and his mental state deteriorated, he finally reached his breaking point. Late at night, in a moment of desperation, Jason searched his computer's recycle bin and restored the deleted file. With trembling hands, he uploaded the image to multiple file-sharing sites, making sure to keep his identity hidden. He even went as far as adding enticing descriptions to the files, luring unsuspecting users into the same trap he had fallen into. As Jason hit submit on the last upload, he felt a mix of guilt and relief wash over him. He knew that he had just subjected countless others to the same fate as his own, but he couldn't endure the torment any longer. He hoped that by giving in to the Smile Dog's demands, he would finally be free of the nightmares and be able to reclaim his life. That night, for the first time in weeks, Jason slept peacefully. Ava was a college student majoring in psychology. Today she was presenting her project, She explained to the class she was fascinated by the power of the human mind and how it could be manipulated through imagery. That's why for her final project, she decided to explore the phenomenon of supposedly cursed images and their impacts on the human psyche. As part of her research, Ava came across the notorious Smile Dog photo. The image featured a dog with an unnervingly wide grin and was believed to cause haunting nightmares and psychological torment to those who viewed it. Intrigued, Ava included the image in her project, alongside several other unsettling pictures. Her presentation continued. Ava argued that these images were not actually haunted, but rather they triggered a subconscious response in the viewer. Due to the unsettling nature of the images and the inability to correctly inventory what was in the images, the mind would fixate on them, trying to decipher the source of the unease. This fixation, she explained, created the illusion of being haunted. The images could randomly pop into your head or appear in your nightmares. The class was captivated by Ava's presentation. In the days that followed, whispers began to circulate throughout the campus as students reported having nightmares featuring the eerie dog. Ava would look surprised and offer a, "Wow, that's crazy," when people would tell her about their nightmares. In the end, Ava got an A in her class, but ended up dropping out of psychology. The guilt was too much, but she had to show that image to the class. The Smile Dog had said so. David had always been an ordinary man, living an ordinary life. His daily routine consisted of catching the bus to work, enduring the monotony of his job, and then heading back home in the evening. He never expected anything out of the ordinary to happen to him. That is, until the day he found the lost smartphone at the bus stop. It was a cold and dreary evening when David spotted the phone lying abandoned on the bench. Curiosity getting the better of him, he picked it up, thinking he might be able to return it to its owner. He turned on the phone. It wasn't password protected, but it didn't have any saved numbers either. David took this bus every day. Maybe he would recognize the owner by the photos on the phone. There was a picture of a pretty woman with a bright smile, and a man. They made a cute couple. A few pictures down, he found the Smile Dog image. The image didn't scare him. David didn't scare easily, but it was very disturbing. He spent a minute or two examining it, then went back to the picture of the cute couple, studied their faces, and went about his evening. The next morning, David got ready for work, same as he always did. Only this time he was exhausted. All night his thoughts kept returning to the Smile Dog. He put some coffee in a to-go cup, grabbed that phone, and left his apartment. While he waited for the bus, he took out the phone to refresh his memory of what the man and woman looked like. When he unlocked the phone, a shudder ran through him. All the apps had been deleted except for the Photos app. When he opened it, it had nothing but endless copies of the Smile Dog image. The sight of the unnerving grin and menacing eyes sent a wave of panic coursing through David's body. He didn't know what happened, but he didn't want to hold onto that phone for another minute. David rushed over to a nearby trash can and hurled the phone inside. Despite his attempts to put the cursed phone and the Smile Dog out of his mind, David couldn't escape the nagging feeling that he was still being watched. This was crazy. He was working. There were people all around him. How could he still feel vulnerable? Well, the fact that he saw that dog's sinister gaze following him everywhere didn't help. He was overwhelmed. He didn't sleep the night before at all, and saw that horrible Smile Dog picture whenever he closed his eyes. After work, he went straight home, made himself some tea, and went to bed early. He didn't have the phone anymore. He couldn't see that picture again even if he wanted to. Hopefully tonight he would just be able to rest and put it all behind him. But that is not what happened. That night David was plagued by nightmares. The Smile Dog haunted his dreams, growling and demanding that he share the image with others. David begged the dog to leave him alone. He told the dog that he no longer had the phone. He couldn't share the picture. The dog merely snarled and continued to torment him. He told David the only way this stopped is if David would take the phone to the airport, go to international departures, and leave the phone on a bench. David begged for mercy until he was woken up by his alarm clock. He felt like he hadn't slept at all. He dragged himself to the bathroom to begin his morning rituals when he heard a knock at his door. It was 6 a.m. Confused, he went to his door. There was a package on his doorstep. The package had no return address, no message, nothing to indicate who it was from. Trembling, David opened the package, and there it was. The phone he had thrown away yesterday. The cursed device containing the Smile Dog image. He turned it on, and now it required a password to unlock. But right on the lock screen was the Smile Dog. David was hopeless. He brought the phone into the bathroom with him and continued with his rituals. His eyes burned so bad. He started tearing as he brushed his teeth. Then the phone made a sound. It was a message. From the lock screen he could read, "Go to the airport now." David turned back to the mirror and continued brushing his teeth. The phone went off again. "Go to the airport now." He went to put the phone down again, and before the phone reached the counter, the phone went crazy, alerting constantly, demanding he go to the airport. David went to his phone and arranged an Uber to take him to the airport. The moment it was set up, the other cell phone stopped. He put the cell phone in his pocket and got into the cab. In the back of the cab, he began nodding off. He would still see the Smile Dog.
Good.
Is all the Smile Dog would say, looking more excited than ever. When he arrived, he went inside, casually sat on a bench, and put the phone beside him. He nodded off for 1 second, just long enough to see the Smile Dog in his face.
Leave.
David followed the dog's instructions. As he walked away, he couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. By placing the phone there, he was dooming countless unsuspecting travelers to the same terrifying fate he had endured. For David, the nightmares finally stopped. The Uber ride home was the first time he slept well since he found that phone 2 days ago. But the guilt weighed heavily on him. He knew that the curse of the Smile Dog had spread even further now, thanks to his actions. And though he'd escaped the torment, he would never be able to escape the knowledge of the darkness he had unleashed upon the world. Michael was a curious teenager with a fascination for the obscure and the macabre. He heard about this YouTube hack, a trick to see content on YouTube that is so crazy, I can't even get into all of it on this video. Let's just say there's a series of creepy and disgusting videos, like people looking into the camera while injuring themselves. The thing is, when using this hack, the videos that come up are pretty random, completely out of the user's control. Do not look this up. This is not a joke. This is real. Do not attempt this. Michael would watch these videos to say he was tough. He just wanted to be cool. One Sunday night while his parents were asleep, he went back on YouTube, trying to find something that would really make his friends uneasy. It all started when Michael, while searching this underground portion of YouTube, found a video that had a link to an unlisted playlist buried deep within a comment section. It promised to have some of the most shocking, grotesque videos ever recorded. Excited by the promise of shocking and exclusive videos, he clicked on the link and began to explore the content. As he scrolled through the playlist, one video caught his eye. It was titled, "Do Not Watch Smile Dog." Ignoring the warning, Michael clicked on the video. The video began with a series of flashing images, each one more disturbing than the last. But that was it. They were just images. They were creepy, but it hardly warranted that "do not watch" warning. Just as Michael was about to close the video, the screen went black. Then, as if peering through a veil, the haunting image of the Smile Dog appeared. Its unnerving grin and sinister eyes seemed to pierce through the screen, burrowing itself into Michael's brain. Michael was actually shaken by what he'd seen. He quickly closed the video and turned off his phone, hoping to forget the unsettling image. In the days that followed, Michael found himself plagued by terrifying nightmares of the Smile Dog. He would wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, his heart pounding in his chest. This once fearless teenager was now a shadow of his former self, consumed by the terror of the demonic entity that was able to haunt his every waking moment and plague him with nightmares whenever he slept. Desperate to rid himself of the Smile Dog's torment, Michael began to research the origins of the image, hoping to find a way to banish it from his life. His search led him to a community of others who had also encountered the Smile Dog, each one sharing their harrowing stories of supernatural encounters and narrow escapes. It appeared the Smile Dog would leave you alone if you shared the image. Michael went back on YouTube, went into his history, and pulled up the video. He could barely look at the screen, he was so scared. He watched just long enough to confirm it was the correct video, and wrote the video URL on a $1 bill, along with the warning, "Do not watch." He went out and bought a bottle of water with the now cursed dollar and went home. It was like the Smile Dog vanished. Its terrifying presence that violently gripped Michael was somehow extinguished by this act. Exhausted, Michael emerged from the ordeal grateful for his newfound freedom from the dog's torment. He made a promise to himself that he would never again search the dark side of YouTube or engage in any activity like that, just to look tough. It was a chilly October evening, and the campus radio station was buzzing with excitement. A popular college radio DJ had decided to host a special show dedicated to all things spooky, in honor of the upcoming Halloween festivities. The station had been flooded with calls and emails from students sharing their scariest stories, and Max couldn't wait to share them with his listeners. As the show progressed, Max received a call from a listener who claimed to have a truly terrifying image to share: the cursed Smile Dog picture. Intrigued, and always up for a good scare, Max agreed to have the image sent to him so he could describe it to his audience live on air. When the image arrived in Max's inbox, he opened it without hesitation. As he looked at the unnerving photo of the grinning dog, Max felt a chill run down his spine. Despite the creepy sensation, he laughed it off and began describing the image to his listeners, making light of the situation and dismissing any talk of curses. "Look at that smile! He's the new spokesdog for Colgate!" That night, Max attended a party with his friends, but he couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something was off. He felt on edge, glancing around the room as if expecting to see the Smile Dog lurking in the shadows. Several people asked if he was okay, but Max just dismissed their concerns and tried to enjoy the party. The following day, Max's radio show was scheduled for its regular time slot, but he never showed up. His friends and coworkers tried calling him, but there was no answer. They even sent someone to his apartment, which was just a short walk from the station, but there was no sign of Max. The entire campus was abuzz with the news of Max's disappearance. Rumors circulated that it was somehow connected to the Smile Dog image he had described on air just the night before. Some believe he had fallen victim to the curse, while others thought it was all an elaborate prank. Days turned into weeks, and there was still no sign of Max. As Halloween approached, the atmosphere on campus grew increasingly uneasy. The students couldn't help but wonder if Max had somehow become the victim of this Smile Dog, and were worried if they would somehow be next. What's the penalty for listening to the description? Do you have to see the Smile Dog? No one knew. All that was known is that Max was there, and now he wasn't. In the end, Max's disappearance remained a mystery, leaving behind a chilling legacy that would haunt the college radio station for years to come. The tale of the DJ who dared to share the cursed Smile Dog image would become a cautionary tale, a grim reminder of the power of fear and the unknown. If you're drawn to the shadows and love a good chill, don't forget to check our playlist at the end. Dive deeper into the darkness with Shadow Puppet Horror Theater. We live in a world where old legends are discarded as children's tales. Many claim that the absence of ghosts and monsters in our high-definition videos and crystal-clear photos are proof that they don't exist. This thinking appears sound, until a person realizes the supernatural can also advance, just like we have. Yes, humans have better surveillance tools, and with these new tools, some of these supernatural entities have gone extinct. But some have also adapted with the technology. Or even more chillingly, some have evolved alongside it. There are some supernatural entities that now hide from our cameras and electronic eyes. Others, however, have taken a more sinister approach. They've woven themselves into the very fabric of our modern world, lurking just behind computer and cell phone screens. One of the most notorious of these evolved entities is the Smile Dog. The Smile Dog was not stopped by technological advances at all, but helped by them. Its legend predates our digital age, originating from a mysterious book that appeared in an ancient cobblestone village, secluded deep within the European countryside. This village held the first documented case of the cursed Smile Dog image. This legend begins with the schoolteacher, a devout and curious woman, finding the book in the church. No one really knows how it got there. A group of traveling merchants had just passed through town. Maybe they'd left it? Anyways, the teacher, mistaking the book for a Bible, opened its pages, only to be met with the haunting image of the Smile Dog. That night, her slumber was invaded by nightmares. She found herself in an endless fog-shrouded forest, the trees casting long, dark shadows that seemed to come alive. Whispers echoed around her, growing louder and more frantic, but their source remained unseen. The chilling wind carried a voice, low and guttural, repeating the words, "Share me, spread my smile, or suffer eternally." As she tried to escape, the Smile Dog's face, grotesquely enlarged, appeared in the mist, its grin stretching wider and wider, consuming her whole. The next morning, exhausted and terrified, desperate for some solace and understanding, the teacher showed her students the book, hoping her compliance would somehow end her torment. The children, being children, initially dismissed the eerie image as nothing more than a spooky drawing, even nicknaming it the Big Bad Smiling Wolf. They teased each other, playfully daring each other to look at it longer. However, their bravado was short-lived. By the next morning, their laughter had turned to sobs. Dark circles rimmed their eyes, their faces pale and drawn. Like the teacher, they too had been visited by the Smile Dog in their dreams, hearing its haunting command to share him. Concerned parents stormed the school, demanding answers for their children's distress. The teacher, racked with guilt and fear, recounted her discovery of the book and her own chilling encounter with the Smile Dog. To make them understand, she revealed the cursed image again. That night, the dreams of the parents were plagued with the same haunting dreams, the same chilling command. By the week's end, there wasn't a single soul in the village who hadn't seen the Smile Dog and heard its sinister demand. From a single glance, the entire village became ensnared by the Smile Dog's grip. Bound by its haunting influence, they lived not for themselves, but for the propagation of its sinister legend. You might assume that the villager's remote location would hinder the Smile Dog's sinister reach, but its influence only seemed to intensify in this isolation. The village children, once innocent and carefree, now found an obsessive compulsion to draw the Smile Dog. Play areas, school walls, and even their own homes were covered in endless renditions of that sinister grin. Craftsmen, the backbone of the village's economy, were not spared from its grip either. The blacksmith, carpenter, and every other artisan redirected their skills, creating items bearing the unmistakable image of the Smile Dog. Iron gates, wooden doors, and every piece of pottery had the creature's eerie likeness. The village church, once a sanctuary of peace and worship, had the most significant transformation. Its ancient stained glass windows, showing saints and biblical stories, were violently shattered. In their place, new windows were erected, each pane dedicated to the haunting visage of the Smile Dog. Visitors to the village, few of them as there were, found themselves immediately overwhelmed by its residents' chatter about the Smile Dog. The sheer intensity of their obsession was, in itself, a source of terror. While many would flee the village in fear, the damage was already done. The image of the Smile Dog was etched into their minds, ensuring that they'd unknowingly spread its legend to wherever their journeys took them.
And that wraps up day 23, my horror fam. I hope tonight's Smile Dog stories gave you the chills and maybe made you think twice about grinning figures lurking in the dark. There's more horror to come as our Halloween countdown marches on. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, and join us tomorrow for more spooky fun. Until then, stay spooky, stay safe, and as always, take good care of yourselves.